At my son's wedding, his bride pointed at me and coldly said, "You're not welcome here." The music stopped. Guests stared in silence. As I walked out, clutching the purse with receipts for the $50,000 I'd spent on their dream wedding, I made one decision. If I wasn't wanted, neither was my money. Today, they'd learn actions have consequences. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, the storyteller on the Family Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. It was unimaginable to witness my only son's wedding culminate in his fiancée demanding that I vacate my own venue. "You're not welcome here," Emma hissed, her perfectly manicured finger jabbing emphatically at the air. "Your time here has caused enough harm. It's best if you go now." The laughter and music came to an abrupt halt. All eyes were on me. I stood still, gripping my purse tightly. The very same one holding the $50,000 check I issued to cover the costs of this entire wedding. My son, my little one, simply stood there gazing down at the ground. Silence reigned, devoid of any words or even a fleeting look. I forced down the knot that had formed in my throat. "Stay strong. Don't let her see your tears." As I stepped past the lines of guests feigning indifference, I sensed a fracture within me. I covered all the costs, the dress, the flowers, the venue, and yet they discarded me as if I were nothing. As I lingered in my car, the shadows of the parking lot enveloped me. The echo of Emma's voice, piercing and laced with malice, cycled through my thoughts like a relentless refrain. "This is not the place for you." Emma wasn't the worst part. It was my son, Ryan. He remained there like an outsider, his gaze glued to the ground, too timid to even stand up for me. My phone vibrated in the cup holder, illuminating with a flurry of incoming messages. "What prompted your departure? How are you doing? Please, Colleen, let's keep this low-key." No one reached out to ask how they had affected me. No one seems to be on my side. I felt a lump in my throat, but I pushed it back down. I wouldn't shed a tear for them. Not this evening. I allowed the anger to swell and solidify within me, unyielding and frigid like steel. They assumed my silence was a sign of weakness. They believed they could belittle me while still reveling in the dream wedding I had crafted for them. Enough is enough. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone and opened the email from the wedding planner. I paused, my thumb lingering over her contact for just a heartbeat. With a deep breath, I pressed the call button. The phone rang twice before she picked up, her tone bright and polished. "Hello, Colleen. I was reviewing the last-minute details for tomorrow. I'm canceling everything," I stated decisively. A moment of silence lingered on the other end. Excuse me? I've instructed to cancel all arrangements. The location, the suppliers, the transactions. I'm stepping back. Colleen, the contracts are in your name, but are you certain? This is incredibly last minute. I have complete confidence. If my presence isn't desired at this wedding, then my financial support won't be either. As I finally rolled into my driveway, the tremors in my hands had subsided. The anger had crystallized into something more intense. Unwavering resolve. Did they really want me out of the picture? All right. Yet they would come to realize, through a difficult journey, that this whole illusion was constructed upon my efforts. As I settled at my kitchen table, I began to peruse the meticulously organized wedding binder I had crafted for Ryan and Emma. Every tab served as a testament to my generosity, location, food service provider, flower shop, visual storyteller, engaging and enjoyable experiences. All they brought to the table were Pinterest boards and a sense of entitlement. Each and every invoice, each and every agreement, each and every signature, mine. I reached for the phone and began to dial. Let's start with the venue. Hello, I'm Colleen Meyer. I hold the contract for the Myers-Whitaker wedding scheduled for tomorrow. Absolutely, without a doubt, we're ready to. I have decided to cancel, in effect, right away. A lengthy silence ensued. Excuse me, ma'am, but are you absolutely certain? A significant cancellation fee applies. There's no need for that. I am the individual who made the deposit, and I am fully entitled to my rights as outlined in the contract. Quietude. A measured response followed. Got it. Your termination will be processed promptly. Tap. Now onto the florist. The identical routine. Next up is the caterer. Next, the photographer. With every moment, I sensed my spine becoming a bit more aligned. With each call, the image sharpened. Ryan and Emma were not merely seeking my support. It was anticipated. The wedding did not belong to them. It belonged to me. Transaction complete, organized, and brought together by my efforts. If I wasn't invited, then my money wasn't either. As I wrapped up the final call with the band, a subtle, cool smile crept across my face. Tomorrow, they would rise with the belief that they were stepping into their own enchanting story. However, there would be a distinct absence of flowers. There is no food available. Silence prevails. The aftermath of their own entitlement lays bare. The house lay in stillness, broken only by the gentle click of my mouse as I navigated through my emails. I carefully opened each PDF attachment one at a time. Catering contract for venue agreement. Band scribe. Every line bore my name, my personal mark, the address for billing purposes. It struck me with a pang of bitterness that they valued my wealth far more than my presence. Not long ago, Emma had made her demands clear. I assure you, we'll reimburse you for half of it once Ryan secures his promotion. The promise now seemed utterly ridiculous. I opened the florist's contract and carefully reviewed the fine print. If the client cancels, the deposit will be forfeited. I was the client after all, definitely not Emma, definitely not Ryan. A wave of validation washed over me. They were unable to contact these vendors and simply restore anything with a wave of a wand. Without my presence, they found themselves at a loss. A car door slammed shut outside, jolting me from my reverie. I cautiously glanced through the blinds, the vehicle belonging to Ryan. A wave of tension washed over me as I observed him approach my front door with purpose. He moved with a sense of urgency I hadn't witnessed in years. A sudden knock reverberated throughout the house. "Mom, can you please open the door? It's time for a conversation." I remained still. A more forceful knock echoed through the space. "Mom, I can sense you're inside." I remained completely motionless. My hands were firmly clasped in my lap. Allow him to feel the pressure. Let him ponder whether I would respond. He no longer had the authority to request my time. Moments later, his voice reached me, laced with anger, muffled yet unmistakable through the door. "This isn't something you can accomplish. Today marks the celebration of our love and commitment." A subtle smile played at the corners of my lips. "Absolutely not, Ryan. That didn't belong to you. It never was." The knocking eventually ceased, yet I remained seated in my chair. My heart pounded fiercely as if it were on the verge of breaking a rib. I compelled myself to remain seated, fixated on the cursor pulsating on my screen. For 3 decades, I was the go-to person for repairs, the individual who mediates disputes, handles the finances, and holds back my words for harmony's sake. That's no longer the case. The stillness beyond lingered endlessly. I glanced through the blinds once more. Ryan's car had vanished. Suddenly, my phone shook aggressively on the table. "Ryan, 6:13 p.m. What's taking so long for a response?" "Ryan, 6:14 p.m. What on earth is happening?" "Ryan, 6:15 p.m. Your actions are having a devastating impact on our lives. The final one had me in stitches. A sharp, empty tone that seemed foreign to me, as if it wasn't even my own voice. I allowed it to buzz repeatedly until, ultimately, against my better judgment, I picked up the call. "Mom, what on earth are you up to?" Ryan's voice trembled with fury. "Canceling the wedding is not an option. Anticipation is in the air." "Halt." My voice was low and cold, a calm facade masking my true feelings. "You were right there yesterday, allowing her to humiliate me in front of the entire crowd. You remained silent, as I preferred to avoid drawing attention." "Oh, so it was perfectly acceptable for Emma to do that." A moment of silence lingered. An extended version. "Mom, hear me out. Emma felt hurt, but her intentions were not as they seemed. You're making a big deal out of this, exaggerating." I lost my cool. I covered all the expenses, Ryan, the location, the cuisine, the melody, everything. "You allowed her to make me feel like an unwelcome visitor." "It's our wedding," he exclaimed. "No, I meant evenly. This was my present, and now it's vanished." "Mom, I'm asking you, please. This isn't something you can accomplish. We risk losing the venue and the vendors." Emma is currently overwhelmed with tears. She ought to have considered that before she ejected me from my own event. A sudden beep shattered the heavy silence between us. A new message appeared on my screen. "Emma, 6:18 p.m. You envious, resentful elder. You've always had a strong dislike for me." "Emma, 6:19 p.m. It's hard to fathom how you're sabotaging Ryan's life just to settle a score." "Emma, 6:20 p.m. Keep your distance from us. Your presence is detrimental." My lips formed a firm line as I absorbed their words. "Have you checked out the messages she's been sending me?" I inquired with Ryan. He murmured, "She's simply feeling upset." "Are you saying she's revealing her true self?" "Mother? Farewell, Ryan." I ended the call before he had a chance to speak again. For a brief moment, I found myself sitting there, fixated on the wall, my chest rising and falling heavily. My phone vibrated repeatedly, illuminating the screen with Emma's name. I placed it face down on the table. Tomorrow, their flawless little fortress would begin to fall apart. For a change, I won't be the one dashing in to rescue them. The relentless banging on my door began well before 9 a.m. "Mom, could you please open the door? It's time for a conversation." Initially, I remained still. I hardly got any sleep at all. The coffee remained idle on the counter, waiting to be savored. The steam has long since vanished, leaving only the chill behind. The thundering resumed, even more intense this time. "Mom, please don't leave me out here all day." Taking a deep breath, I approached the door and gently eased it open. Ryan's cheeks were tinged with a deep shade of red. His hair was disheveled, as if he hadn't rested at all. He entered without so much as a moment's hesitation for an invitation. "What on earth, Mom?" He let out a sharp bark, his voice escalating before he even crossed the threshold into the living room. "Everything has been obliterated." "Do you truly understand the impact of your actions on me, for Emma?" "Lower your voice," I said with a calm demeanor. "Welcome to my home." He raked his fingers through his hair, moving restlessly like a trapped creature. "All the vendors have departed. The venue has informed us that they are fully booked for another couple. We haven't received any response from the florist despite our attempts to reach out. Are you truly aware of the consequences of your actions?" "Indeed," I responded with a sense of calm. "I've put an end to financing my own embarrassment." His eyes grew wide with astonishment. "Embarrassment?" Emma felt a wave of disappointment wash over her. Her words didn't reflect her true feelings. "Oh, she was serious," I retorted. "She faced the crowd and commanded me to go, and you allowed her to do that." His jaw clenched. I aimed to avoid exacerbating the situation. "You stood there, an unfamiliar figure, Ryan, you failed to stand up for me. You didn't even glance my way." His voice fell to a chilling whisper. "Your behavior has consistently reflected a controlling and selfish nature. This explains why Dad chose to leave." The word struck with the force of a slap. My breath hitched in my throat. Yet rather than breaking down, I sensed a strength within me solidify. "Self-centered," I reiterated, my voice quaking with rage. "Are you aware of the extent of my sacrifices for you? The numerous checks I penned? What were the hours I put in? The aspirations I sacrificed to ensure you could pursue your own?" He recoiled just a bit. Yet, his expression held a resolute defiance. I whispered, "You've picked her instead of me. Allow her to invest in the wedding of her dreams." He fixed his gaze on me, his lips parting as though ready to dispute. Yet silence prevailed. I stepped through the door and swung it open wide. "It's time for you to leave." He paused for a brief moment. He charged past me, slamming the door with such force that the walls trembled. I collapsed onto the couch, my hands shaking uncontrollably. After all these years, it struck me that Ryan was no longer the boy I had nurtured. He had become a stranger to me. As the clock struck noon, the phone calls began to pour in. Initially, it was my sister-in-law, Linda. "Colleen," she started with a hint of hesitation. "I just received an update from Ryan. He's heartbroken. This needs your attention." I gazed at the phone, my lips forming a tight line. "Can you help me with this issue? Could you clarify how that works?" "Please reinstate the payments," she urged softly. "They are youthful. An error was made. This is their special day. You'll want to keep the surprise intact for them." My hands clenched into tight fists. "I didn't ruin anything," I stated softly. Everything fell apart the instant they began to treat me as if I were an outsider. An uncomfortable silence hung in the air. "Colleen, your determination has always stood out. Perhaps Emma perceived that as a threat. Feeling threatened, I covered the costs for her dream wedding in its entirety." Linda let out a sigh. "Just a reminder, don't allow pride to stand in the way of family. Rise above the situation." I hung up without saying a word. Just 5 minutes later, the phone rang once more. "Colleen." My stomach twisted at the sound of that voice. "Mark," I stated plainly. "My former spouse, father of Ryan. Ryan gave me a call. He mentioned he's overwhelmed with emotion. I'm not sure what transpired during the rehearsal, but are you really canceling everything? It's overwhelming. Is it excessive?" Despite my attempts to maintain composure, my voice began to rise. "Mark, where were you when Emma kicked me out in front of a crowd of 50 people? Where were you when our son stood there, seemingly paralyzed by fear?" "Let's not revisit old wounds," he said, his tone cutting through the air. "Now is not the moment. Allow them to enjoy their moment. Rise above the situation." Once again, I remarked with a hint of bitterness. "Rise above the situation. That's a subtle way of saying to continue your payments and stay silent. Colleen, let's keep it calm. Farewell, Mark." I ended the call before he had a chance to complete his thought. I gazed at my reflection in the window, my complexion ghostly and weary. This was the moment. I didn't feel like family to them. I was a living wallet. The realization didn't overwhelm me as I had anticipated. Instead, it sank deep into my bones, cold and weighty. They perceived my love as a sign of weakness. However, they were on the verge of discovering that love comes with boundaries. The exact moment the tears began or ceased eludes my memory. In the soft, muted light of my kitchen, I found myself cradling a mug of cold tea, lost in thought as time drifted away, each moment slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. The sorrow washed over me in relentless waves, not only for Ryan and Emma, But for the countless years I devoted myself, bending, breaking, and pouring out every ounce of my being for those who now viewed me as nothing more than disposable. The phone vibrated once more, this time with a message from a cousin. "Colleen, let's not let a single misunderstanding tear the family apart." I muted it without responding. Amidst the tears and the quiet, a vivid image surged into my thoughts. The day of my wedding. At 23, I found myself in a lace dress that was pricier than our first car. That morning, my mother-in-law took me aside and shared a piece of wisdom. Quiet women make the best wives. Stay calm and collected. In those moments, I simply nodded, smiled, and kept down every surge that attempted to surface within me. Now, as I sit alone in my kitchen decades later, the clarity has finally come to me. Silence is not a sign of weakness. I had transformed from the woman who once contorted herself to please others. The woman had vanished. An unusual tranquility enveloped me, more profound than fatigue, yet more acute than sorrow. I stood up from my chair, set the untouched tea aside in the sink, and gently wiped my cheeks. It's time to stop the tears. No more pleading for mere fragments of affection and esteem. Ryan and Emma clearly underestimated me if they believed they could humiliate me and still glide down the aisle in the fairy tale I financed. They were mistaken, completely mistaken. The following morning, I scheduled a meeting with Margaret Chen. For years, Margaret has been my trusted attorney, precise, subtle, and unwavering. Seated in her sun-drenched office, I could feel that familiar knot in my stomach begin to tighten. "Colleen," she said with warmth, folding her hands gently, "you seem a bit worn out. Fill me in on the details." I presented everything clearly. The gathering before the big day, Emma's moment of public embarrassment, the quietude of Ryan. I meticulously financed the wedding right down to the final napkin, only to cancel every single vendor involved. Margaret absorbed every word, her face a mask of neutrality. As I wrapped up my words, she reclined in her chair, taking a moment to absorb what had just been said. She stated with utmost clarity, "You haven't made any mistakes at all. All contracts are registered under your name. All transactions originated from your account. If they desire this wedding, they'll need to cover the costs themselves." I let out a slow breath, a hint of relief piercing through the frustration. "What happens if they decide to take legal action against me?" I inquired, my voice softer than I had meant it to be. Margaret's lips formed a subtle smile. "What are the reasons behind that?" "They lack a solid foundation. If they or their attorney decide to send you a letter, please forward it to me without hesitation. I've got it covered." The sudden sharp knock on the office door caught me off guard. Margaret's assistant peeked in. "I apologize for the interruption. A man is on the line. He claims it's urgent. Is it Ryan Meyer?" I was completely still. Margaret arched an eyebrow. "Are you ready to seize this opportunity?" "No," I said it quickly. "Not at this moment." "Good," Margaret replied. "Allow him to feel the pressure. It's time to let go of the weight you've been shouldering for too long." After weeks of monotony, a strange sensation stirred within my chest for the very first time. Not frustration, not sorrow. It was sheer power, authentic, understated strength. I gave a nod. "Absolutely, you hit the nail on the head." Margaret gracefully pushed a packet of papers across the desk. "I will prepare a formal notice for each vendor to confirm the cancellation and your exclusive legal authority. If Ryan or Emma arrive, they'll be having a conversation with me, not you." With each stroke of the pen, my hand steadied, the tremors fading away. Allow them to unleash their fury. Allow them to express themselves. I was no longer just a source of funds for them. When I finally arrived home from Margaret's office, my phone was buzzing incessantly. Initially, I brushed it off. Suddenly, the notifications poured in, a multitude of them. Facebook, Instagram, messages from individuals I hadn't connected with in ages. My stomach dropped. I logged into Facebook. Emma's face was the first thing that caught my eye, with eyes like crimson and cheeks marked by tears. With her hair styled into an effortlessly chic, messy bun, she held a tissue delicately in her hand. The caption above her video stated, "I never imagined my future mother-in-law would ruin our wedding due to jealousy and spite. My heart feels shattered." I pressed play. She called off all plans. Emma wept before the camera, the location, the blossoms, the cuisine. She went so far as to threaten the vendors. Despite everything we've done for her, she's attempting to sabotage the most joyful day of our lives. She let her voice crack for added drama. We were hesitant to make this public, but she left us with no alternative. We kindly ask for your prayers as we work to restore what has been broken. The comments were stacking up rapidly. Incredible. What type of mother behaves like that? Sever ties with her. Her energy feels toxic. My apologies, Emma. Keep your head up. A surge of fury ignited within me as I continued to scroll. Each word was a deception. Considering everything we've done for her, I covered the expenses for her dream wedding. I wrote checks for her designer dress, the venue that comes with a hefty price tag, the caterer she personally selected. Now she was portraying me as the antagonist. A new notification just appeared. Here's a moment captured from Instagram. Emma shared a captivating photo of herself and Ryan in a warm embrace. "We refuse to let hate prevail. Your true family uplifts you. They don't bring you down." Countless likes, a multitude of encouraging remarks. My hands trembled, not out of sorrow, but out of rage. I launched my notes app and began crafting a list. Each and every post, each remark, each deception. I captured each image individually, meticulously organizing them into a folder labeled "For Margaret." If Emma was looking for a fight, she was about to find one. However, it wasn't the type she had anticipated. This time, I will hold back my tears. This time, I won't plead. This time, I would stand my ground. An email from the florist marked the beginning of it all. "Oh, we regret to share that, due to a canceled contract, we are unable to offer our services for the Meyer-Whitaker wedding. Wishing you all the best as you move ahead." The photographer shared an Instagram story announcing an unexpected opening this weekend, tagging their business account for all to see. Then the band took the stage. "Hello, this is your name. I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out to discuss the reason for your call. Please feel free to return my call at your earliest convenience. Thank you, and have a great day." "Hello, Colleen. I wanted to confirm that the Meyer-Whitaker event has been officially marked as canceled. We appreciate you keeping us informed." One by one, the dominoes tumbled down, sequentially. By Friday morning, the wedding had fallen apart. That's when the call arrived. Emma. This time her voice had a distinct quality, firm yet quivering, sweetened with a touch of sweetness. "Colleen, can we have a conversation?" "I'm all ears," I replied with a flat tone. It's understandable that tensions ran high during the rehearsal. We were all feeling the pressure. Weddings have their own unique charm. I regret the words I chose to express. "You told me to leave," I replied, my voice icy. In the spotlight, I was completely overwhelmed. Let's not discard everything because of a single misstep. Ryan and I, we must protect our deposits at all costs. The guests are eagerly anticipating a wedding. It was as if I could sense her effort to smile, even while her teeth were clenched tight. "Let's be reasonable," she urged. "Please take care of this for Ryan. Ensure his big day remains unforgettable." I gripped the phone tightly in my hand. "I'm not causing any harm," I stated with composure. "I'm prioritizing my well-being." The line fell into silence. Then her voice lost its sweet lilt. "You're just a bitter old woman," she spat out. "You've always envied me. Ryan is worthy of so much more than what you offer. That way he can find an even better match." I hung up before she had a chance to reply. The phone rang once more in quick succession. This time, "It's Ryan." I sent it straight to voicemail. As I sat at my desk, casually scrolling through my emails, it caught my eye. The email subject line stated, "Final payment confirmation for your Maldives honeymoon package." Initially, I suspected it was just spam. However, I noticed the email address, ColleenMeyer@AOL.com. My stomach plummeted. I opened it with a click. "We appreciate your reservation for a luxurious 14-night getaway in the Maldives Overwater Villa, complete with dedicated butler service. Your American Express ending in $3,921 has been charged. My credit card." A cheerful note was included at the bottom. "Ryan Meyer and Emma Whitaker will indulge in unlimited champagne and a private yacht excursion, all included in their exclusive package. Well done." The booking was made 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, during a lunch meeting with Emma to talk about floral arrangements, I discovered she had been using my credit card to arrange a $26,000 honeymoon. Without inquiring, not a word spoken. My hands shook with anticipation as I continued to scroll. Here comes another email. "We appreciate your recent purchase. Thank you. Elegant bridal luggage set. Louis Vuitton." Something within me broke. They didn't merely overlook my generosity. This was part of their plan all along. The wedding failed to embody the essence of love's celebration. A daring heist unfolded. A deliberate and methodical withdrawal of my funds, my confidence, my self-respect. They didn't even try to conceal it. I launched my banking app and browsed through my latest transactions. Emma's Boutique, $12,400. Deposit for private chef, $8,950. Indulge in exclusive spa treatments for just $3,200. Discover the breathtaking beauty of the Maldives. I haven't made any charges at all. Not a single one. The digits on the screen captured my full attention. My jaw is tense. My heart races. It was clear from the start that repayment was never on their agenda. This is not intended for the wedding, not for any reason. And yet, they had the nerve to label me as selfish. I snapped the laptop shut and leaned back in my chair. No more phone calls would be made. There will be no more opportunities for a do-over. Say goodbye to excessive pampering. They revealed their true selves to me. It was finally my moment to reveal my true self. A voicemail arrived late that night. As I folded laundry, the screen illuminated with a soft glow. "Ryan, 10:47 p.m. For a brief moment, I paused. A tiny, foolish part of me entertained the possibility. Perhaps he reached out to express his apologies. I hit play. "Mother." His voice carried an icy chill. Level. I'm not sure why I'm putting in the effort here. "You have never truly embraced the role of a mother in my life. Not quite. Perpetually occupied, excessively domineering. It's quite chilly." My chest constricted. Yet I remained still. "Emma had a point about you. From the very beginning, envy has colored your perception of her. This is the reason behind your actions. You simply can't bear to witness my happiness." A moment of silence lingered. A quick breath escapes. "It's no surprise that your dad chose to walk away. I've got it figured out now." The words struck with the force of a sharp slap. It felt as if a chord had finally snapped within me. With deliberate intent, I pressed my thumb against the screen and tapped delete. The message has vanished. Alongside it, something else faded away as well. The final delicate connection binding me to the boy I once adored beyond measure. Embracing solitude is far more rewarding than enduring exploitation. I placed the phone aside and switched off the light. The end had come. The following morning, I found myself in Margaret's office, my fingers curled around a mug of untouched tea. Margaret had already gone through the transcripts of Emma's posts and Ryan's harsh voicemail. Her expression was serene. Yet, there was a piercing intensity in her gaze that was entirely new to me. "This has gone beyond mere entitlement," she remarked. "This is harassment. We're going to put an end to it." With a smooth motion, she pushed a draft over the desk. "Stop and refrain. unwanted behavior, defamation, improper utilization of financial resources. I quickly glanced over the highlighted sections. My heart races, not out of fear, but driven by something more formidable, spotless. Margaret's voice sliced through the room with precision. This is being sent straight to Emma. 1 certified mail copy, 1 through email, and 1 for her parents. It's crucial for them to realize that continuing down this path will lead to repercussions. I nodded, gripping the mug a little tighter. Let's talk about Ryan. Margaret lightly tapped a folder marked Joint Accounts. Have you heard that he's been withdrawing from the account you set up for him back in college? My stomach churned. I was under the impression that he had given it up years back. He did not. She pulled up a printout of the latest transactions. Last month, he took out $7,500, immediately following your payment of the venue deposit. My complexion faded to a ghostly pallor. Margaret stood her ground. Let's freeze it now. Today, before he makes the choice to drain the remainder, for a brief instant, my hands lingered above the folder. That account was my way of expressing, I'm always here for you. However, that promise no longer held the same significance. Just do it, I urged softly. Margaret gave a nod of agreement. Rest assured, it's taken care of. She grabbed her phone and started giving directives to her paralegal. Her voice exuded confidence, professionalism, and calm assurance. This is precisely the tranquility I require at this moment. As I absorbed her words while she dictated the cease and desist letter, an unusual sensation washed over me. I was completely steady. I wasn't shedding any tears. I had moved past any feelings of anger. After weeks of uncertainty, I finally felt a sense of stability. Ryan and Emma had extracted their fair share from me. My finances, my self-respect, my identity as a mother. They refused to accept anything else. Margaret concluded the call and turned to me, a subtle smile gracing her lips. Colleen, you've nailed it all. If they desire a wedding, they will need to cover the costs themselves. I exhaled gently. Go ahead and give it a shot, I murmured gently. As the week drew to a close, the fractures in their once enchanting story had widened into chasms. The journey began with a captivating post on Emma's Instagram, a beautifully filtered image capturing her hand intertwined with Ryan's. The caption stated, striving to remain resilient in these challenging moments. We kindly ask that you honor our privacy. The reactions were a blend of sympathy and bewilderment. Can you tell me what occurred? I was under the impression that the wedding was scheduled for this weekend, sending warmth and affection. Keep your head up, darling. After 2 hours, I received a text from Linda. Colleen, did you actually go through with canceling the wedding? It's the hot topic on everyone's lips. I chose not to respond. I no longer felt the need to justify myself. The phone rang once more, displaying a number I didn't recognize. Despite my reservations, I decided to respond. Hi, Colleen. This is Gary Whitaker, Emma's dad. His voice was sharp and staccato, as if he were pushing each word through gritted teeth. I'm not sure what Emma mentioned during the rehearsal, but it seems unlikely that you'd want to jeopardize the entire wedding over a single misunderstanding. I remained quiet, anticipating the true motive behind his call. He let out a sharp breath. Let me be clear. If this concerns finances, I won't sugarcoat it. We find ourselves in a challenging situation at the moment, but I believe we can come to a resolution if you could kindly reinstate the payments. There it stood. I nearly burst into laughter. The very man who had once held his pride too high to utter a word to me was now pleading for my assistance. No, I meant simply, it's up to you to find the solution. Are you aware of the impact this will have on Emma? He let out a sharp bark. The attendees, the standing of each family. I abruptly ended the call while they were still speaking. The following day, an email from the venue manager landed in my inbox. Dear Ms. Meyer, we have processed your cancellation request and the Myers-Whitaker wedding has been successfully removed from our schedule. The date has been successfully rebooked. Your booking has been successfully reprocessed. Their dream wedding was not merely called off, it had found a new owner. In my mind's eye, I saw Emma furiously scrolling through Pinterest, yelling at Ryan, while her parents sat powerless on the couch. Yet I found no sense of fulfillment. I experienced a complete absence of emotion. The email arrived late on Sunday night. I nearly passed it by. The mere sight of the subject line sent a wave of unease through me. It's time to move forward. I went ahead and clicked. Mom, we've chosen to let go of the past and forgive you for everything that has occurred. Emotions ran high and words were exchanged that perhaps weren't truly intended. Emma and I discussed it, and we're open to having you at the wedding, provided you can keep things comfortable and avoid any awkward moments. This is our special day, and we kindly ask that you keep the focus on us. It's time for us to progress together as a united family. Ryan, I gazed at the screen, my mouth agape. Will you forgive me? A laugh escaped my lips before I had a chance to hold it back. It began as a tiny piercing sensation, but soon escalated until I found myself doubled over, trembling with a mix of joy and irony. Please forgive me. Once I invested in their dream story, after Emma dismissed me from the rehearsal as if I were just some hired help. After Ryan remained silent, I felt the sting of humiliation wash over me in front of the crowd. And they believed I was the one in need of forgiveness. I brushed away a tear that lingered at the edge of my eye, not due to sorrow, but from an abundance of laughter. I clicked reply and let my fingers rest above the keyboard, yet not a single word came to mind. They were not worthy of a reply. I shut the laptop and set it aside, let them hold on to their quaint illusion of control. I was finished being the naive one. The wedding day arrived, a radiant Saturday morning in June, just as Emma had envisioned. The gentle melody of birds greeted me as I opened my eyes, while the refreshing aroma of eucalyptus wafted in through my hotel window. I was delighted to find that the spa had upgraded me to a luxurious suite featuring a private balcony with breathtaking ocean views. At noon, I reclined on a chaise lounge, my hair elegantly wrapped in a towel, a refreshing glass of chilled champagne in hand. A notification buzzed on my phone. Today is the day. Looking forward to seeing you both at 2 p.m. A visitor, blissfully oblivious to the fact that the enchanting story had fallen apart. I took a delicate sip of my champagne, a subtle smile gracing my lips. Precisely at 2 p.m., I envisioned the venue, now reserved for another couple, alive with blooms and joy that had no connection to Ryan or Emma. The idea failed to deliver any sense of fulfillment. It delivered tranquility. After years of feeling burdened, I finally experienced a sense of weightlessness. The team presented me with a delightful fruit platter and topped off my glass. I grabbed my phone, launched Instagram, and captured a stunning shot of the scenery, the vast expanse of blue above, sunlight dancing on the water's surface, and my champagne flute shimmering in the periphery. I crafted a brief caption, the smartest choice I've ever made, without any context or names provided. Yet, I was confident they would notice it. They would understand precisely what I was conveying. By Monday morning, the murmurs had escalated into a thunderous clamor. A single comment beneath Emma's emotional Instagram post set everything in motion. Wasn't Colleen the one who covered the entire wedding expense? This doesn't make sense. Initially, Emma's friends quickly sprang into action to support her, refrain from sharing falsehoods. The complete story remains untold. She's a detrimental mother, intent on sabotaging their joy. Suddenly, another comment surfaced. My cousin is employed at the venue. Colleen took care of all the bookings and payments. Emma and Ryan walked away without spending a cent. The dam has collapsed. Somehow, screenshots of Emma's honeymoon package, which was charged to my credit card, found their way into a wedding gossip group. Individuals displayed a relentless nature. They exploited her to fund a wedding and a lavish getaway, only to subject her to humiliation. Elegant. Picture sinking your teeth into the very hand that nourishes you. They are truly a perfect match, indulged and privileged. Even a few of Ryan's former college buddies chimed in. It's to be expected. He consistently allowed women to take advantage of him. I chose not to comment. I chose not to like or share. However, I meticulously preserved every single screenshot. That afternoon, I received a call from Linda, my sister-in-law. Colleen, she started with a hint of hesitation. I was unaware. I sincerely apologize. Everyone believed. Emma implied that you were attempting to undermine them without any justification. I said calmly, you believed her. I understand. Linda let out a deep sigh. People are beginning to uncover the truth now. I wanted to take a moment to share this with you. You have support now. No response was given. I wasn't looking for her sympathy. What I sought and ultimately achieved was clarity. For years, I allowed others to take and take, believing it was my responsibility to maintain harmony. However, peace achieved through self-sacrifice is not true peace. It's a hush. I had reached my limit of silence. As the second week rolled around, the rumors had ignited and spread rapidly. Emma's Instagram account had fallen quiet. Ryan's profile picture is no longer visible. It began with a simple spark. A mutual friend shared a thought. Perhaps it's wise to avoid biting the hand that feeds you in the future. Subsequently, a cousin of Emma's posted a mysterious tweet. If you're unable to cover your own wedding expenses, it's best to refrain from directing frustration at the one footing the bill. The whispers had transformed into a chorus. They shared a hearty laugh. Images of Emma's posts surfaced on a wedding forum. Brides and strangers alike tore her to shreds. She sabotaged her own wedding by acting like a spoiled child. It seems she believed her mother-in-law was her financial benefactor. The level of entitlement is astonishing. Who would dare to dismiss the individual backing the entire event? Vendors got in on the action too. An anonymous post from a florist. We cautioned her that the contract was held by her mother-in-law. She was indifferent. She believed she was immune to the repercussions. I remained silent. I chose not to defend myself. I had no need to. The truth has a tendency to emerge all on its own. As the month drew to a close, Emma and Ryan found their guest list had completely vanished. Friends have ceased responding to their calls. Their dream wedding became the centerpiece of conversation throughout the town, not to commemorate, but to serve as a warning. What about me? As I lounged on a balcony 2 states removed from the everyday hustle, I savored the moment, champagne glass in hand, while the sun gracefully sank beneath the horizon. I shared a serene photo. My feet are elevated. The vast ocean unfolds endlessly ahead of me. The caption is straightforward. Happiness suits me perfectly. I didn't pay attention to likes or comments. I was indifferent to whether Ryan noticed it, or Emma, or any of the family members who had previously labeled me as dramatic. This was not intended for them. This was meant for me. The following morning, my phone vibrated with a notification. Ryan. I gazed at the screen for what felt like an eternity before finally hitting decline. A text has been provided. Could we have a conversation? We acknowledge our missteps. I powered down the phone and placed it screen side down on the table. For years, I allowed others to draw me into their chaos. At this moment, I embraced tranquility. Peace signified a resolute decision to never return to their tumultuous world. They believed they could belittle me while continuing to benefit from my kindness. They were mistaken. I wasn't just a source of money for them. I served as their wake-up call. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.